I support it. I do. Get your arse home now. Hi, my name is Melissa and I'm a professional soul singer. Today we're going to be discovering Bonsoir, my dudes. Long time no see. I realise that the upload schedule of my channel has become a bit scatty the past couple of weeks. You need to know it's 'cause I'm scatty. I'm trying very hard to get around all of your comments, all of your beautiful, beautiful comments. Please be patient with me. I promise I will get back to you. I'm just so overwhelmed with love. Also, I found it hilarious that one or two people didn't understand my Tom Waits t-shirt on my community post. I know it's Ron Perlman. I know it's Ron Perlman. I am of the opinion that Tom Waits is the greatest singer-songwriter that has ever existed. But because I love him so much, I want to beat everyone else to the punch of making fun of him, so I make fun of him. He's Cookie Monster. He's Ron Perlman. He's Columbo. He's all of those things. For any of you wondering where I got my t-shirt, you can check it out on Sadfish Trombones on Instagram. It's a wonderful Tom Waits meme account that occasionally throws in memes of Nick Cave. I support it. I do. Today on Soul Singer Discovers, we are going to be discovering a patron's choice. This choice has been chosen by our patron, Rickard. Rickard was of the opinion that a lot of you might not like this one, and what I would say to you is, if you don't, tough shit. Rickard has chosen Thin Lizzy. Now it's weird because I don't know who Thin Lizzy are. I have heard Boys Are Back in Town. I think that's the only one I've actually ever sat and heard or listened to and was aware of. Although I'm sure there's some of you out there who think I'm just completely making all of that up. It was the blurst of times.
It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. You stupid monkey.
Thin Lizzy are an Irish rock band formed in Dublin in 1969 by bassist and vocalist Phil Lynott. Lynott? I say Lynott. Thin Lizzy's music covered things from rock music, blues music, a little bit of metal music, and the band's breakthrough album came in 1976 with their album Jailbreak, which did feature The Boys Are Back in Town. So I'll be honest, I have avoided listening to any Thin Lizzy. I used to go to Dublin every 3 months with a very close friend of mine, Ewan, who's no longer with us, and he loved rock music and he loved Dublin, and he did make us go and look at the statue of Phil Lynott in Dublin. He was so excited. One of my favourite things that I ever heard as well about Thin Lizzy and Phil Lynott was a Scottish comedian by the name of Billy Connolly, who's essentially the funniest man on the earth.
Hey, fuck off!
Did a series where he went around the UK and Ireland and looked at different places of interest, and he got talking to Phil Lynott's mum, and she said that Phil was interviewed and asked what it feels like to be Irish and black. And Phil said it's kind of like being a pint of Guinness. And that stayed with me. That has stayed with me all these years. It's very firm in my brain for some reason. So yeah, I'm all kinds of hyped today. We're going to be listening to Thin Lizzy's Dancing in the Moonlight, live and dangerous. And boop. I've totally heard this before. Kind of, maybe. I think so. It's fun!
When I passed you in the doorway, you took me with a glance. I should have turned that gas for the soul, but I asked you for a dance. Now we go steady to the pictures, and I always get chocolate stains on my pants. And my father is a grown-up priest, says I'm living in a trance, and I'm dancing in the moonlight. It's happening in a
Saxophone!
this long summer night.
Pausing. That was a really beautiful time to pause. It went all silent. I didn't know there was saxophone. I had a conversation with one of our commenters that I have highlighted, which I haven't done one in this video. I'll probably do it at the end. Millicent Oak pointed out that, yeah, they couldn't think of any metal bands that feature brass, like saxophones or trumpets or anything like that. If you can think of any, please let us know. I'm aware that this is not metal, but you know what I mean? But Phil's voice is very conversational. It's very in one register. It's very, it's clear that he's not making any effort to create the sound that he's creating. I love the groove of the song, to be honest. That the sort of ba 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 da. I love that syncopation. He's very much reminding me another British act called Ian Dury and the Blockheads. Some of the American audience might not know who I'm talking about. He was a songwriter from sort of like the 80s, and he did songs like Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick. He was quite political in a lot of the lyricism that he had. He was also disabled. It was quite sort of groundbreaking for someone who did have a physical disability to do as well as Ian Dury did in the UK music scene at the time. But Ian Dury had that. He had very sort of conversational in them, and especially in his verses. It was very much like, he was just talking to us with a musical tone. There was no need for him to stress because there wasn't really anything else going on. And that's what I'm getting from Phil. Yeah. Currently, nothing is like mind-blowing. We're not reinventing the wheel here, but again, I feel like sometimes we need to inject a little bit of that non-snobbery behaviour. Like, it's really important to listen to very colourful, rich, dynamic music, but equally, it's completely okay to listen to something that's not as complex. Like, it's really fun to have like a New York style old fashioned made with Sicilian lemons and a twist of lime. Like, it's okay to have that, but sometimes you just want a beer. Sometimes you just want a beer, and that's okay. Let's keep going. Boop.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on the street again. I dissipated another one, should have been in my tail. I will read out until Sunday, and I'll have to say I stayed with prayer. Oh, but it's a happy word for me, if it means to justify the ends dancing in the moonlight. It's happening in its spotlight. It's alright.
Why is Shakin' Stevens playing the sax?
On this long hot summer day.
Stash on this guy.
You should make a lot of noise from the grand around.
He's so Irish. Yeah, I can 100% hear a lot of the sort of bluesier influence in certainly the guitar solo. But there were still some nice little bits and bobs in there. It wasn't completely stale and overused. You know, that way when you hear some blues guitarists and you're like, oh my god, why did you even turn up? Why did you even bother playing the guitar? Can you tell that I worked in blues bands for so many years and it makes me want to shoot myself whenever I think of it? Rah! Saxophone was obviously something that got used a lot, overused in the sort of 80s, late 80s, particularly into the early 90s. And for a lot of bands that a lot of the time I'm like, it doesn't require it, don't do that. But with this one, I'm like, actually, Dancing in the Moonlight, it's got a kind of cool groove. it makes total sense to have a saxophone solo there. Was the saxophone solo something that I would particularly love to listen to again? Perhaps not. Did that man have an amazing moustache? Yes, he did. Also, I love that when Phil's obviously, we've had this discussion in the comments before, but I think not on this, is some people point out that some British acts, whenever they sing, they lose their accent. I think that's a combination of things, in my opinion, before anyone loses their I think that it's either you want to lose your accent because regional British accents don't necessarily, and I hate the word British. I'm not British, I'm Scottish, thank you very much. But regional British accents are a lot harder to portray in singing and harder for other people to understand. And of course, a lot of people want to be well understood by a lot of different people, blah, 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 blah. But I also think there's a lot of acts, and I would consider myself one of them, that grew up with the American accent as part of their intake of music. So my parents were huge Northern Soul fans. Northern Soul was a movement in the UK where a lot of B-side American soul music was sent over to the UK, and it was played in working class clubs here in the UK. And a lot of the young kids at the time who were fairly disillusioned and fed up with the state of the UK would go out at night and they would get themselves dressed up and they would do this most amazing dancing to some of this very American soul music, very authentic soul music. So that's all I heard when I was growing up. And as a direct result of that, whenever anyone, even as a child, when someone would ask me to sing, I wouldn't sing like this, which would be ridiculous. I would mimic the singers that I was listening to. Stevie Wonder, baby Michael Jackson and Dionne Warwick and Smokey Robinson and Otis Redding. Those were the singers that I would hear. So I wouldn't go, sitting on the dock of the bay. Sounds so ridiculous. I would go, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Because these were the singers that I listened to, and it made sense for me to do that. And Phil's got that. Also, I'm not super sure if Phil is Northern or Southern Irish. There's a big difference between those two. Because I do love a Northern Irish accent of all those hard sounds. Get your arse home now. Whereas Southern's a little bit more lilting and a bit more sort of like soft. Anyway, we're not here to talk about me or my accents. Let's keep going. Boop. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there was some nice moments towards the end there where Phil was digging in a little bit more. Dancing in the moonlight, yeah. Is he going to win some great award for singing? No. Does it matter? No. It's a fun song. I really like the groove of the bass underneath it. I think the sax fits really well into this song, which I think a lot of bands of Thin Lizzy's era were guilty of slamming saxophone in there where it should not have been. Again, whilst the harmonies weren't particularly complex at the end there, they did add something. It was rich. And the audience looked like they were having an absolute fabulous time as well. It feels like that kind of music that my parents would have went out to dance to. Or at least they would have went to a Northern Soul place, but they would have, if it came on somewhere, they would absolutely bop to it and they would be like, this is a great tune, I love this song. All in all, this was a really nice one to discover. It was sort of nostalgic in a way. I'm certain I've probably heard it before, but having revisited it to this live version was really lovely. Would it be considered a guilty pleasure? What do people think of Thin Lizzy? What's people's general opinions on the band as a whole? As always, thank you to all of you for watching and commenting. Thank you to Ricard for asking for this. I've still got to do some more Patron requests. They're all coming. I'm finally catching up. If you have left me a comment, I will get back to you. It might take me a few days, but I'll get there. Until next time, my dudes, go and have a dance in the moonlight.